Hello, this is day 6, day 5 and 6. I'll explain why. I filmed day 5 yesterday and I neglected to put the stabilisation on the camera. So it was jumping about quite a bit, not really usable. But I'll show you what I did on day 5 and then we'll get on with day 6. So yesterday I did all of the insulation on this van. This is the B&Q sort of shredded up bottle material, and I've done all of the doors, the panels, and I've done the ceiling also. Now, I also got round to doing some of the first fix electrics. So we've got the wiring in for the lights. We've got wiring in over there for the consumer unit for the mains hookup. And we've got wires in here for a USB port and a reading lamp. And what I also did was got the cables in from the starter battery for the Renogy unit, which I've got over there. I've not wired them up to the starter battery yet. I'll do that when I do the whole electrical installation, but I've just put them in place. So that's what we got up to yesterday. Now today I'm going to put the panels on here, I'm going to put some roof battens on, and then I'm going to start on the ceiling. Having done a few Vivaros in the past, I have these cardboard templates for the wall panels. Always a good idea to make these out of cardboard first, and then you can just cut them straight out of the wood once you've got the cardboard to fit. And we also have this ply which was in the van originally, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to clean it up, and that will be the first panels that we'll do. So the first thing with that is just to get this old mastic stuff off, or silicone, whatever it is. This old ply may not be the prettiest stuff in the world, but it is going to get carpeted over, and structurally it's fine, you know, so waste not, want not. Alrighty, so I've marked around here the first template. I'm going to cut that out with a jigsaw, and then we'll offer this up. It may be a little bit different because we do have insulation on the wheel arch and stuff now, so that might need a little bit of nibbling here and there, but it'll be close. Okay, now let's take a look at this. That is a good fit. That will do me fine. Right, I'm going to cut another one exactly the same as this for the other side, and then we'll do these two top ones. Alrighty, so these wires will just slide through the back of there. Get this one through here, and then get that panel offered up. Now, well, wiring here is going to be mainly on a panel which is going here, so there's plenty of that. That panel's a good fit. So on to the next one. Now the remaining wood that came with the van, the remaining ply, is a little bit tatty, so to do these top panels I've got a new sheet of ply here. This is a 5.5mm ply. And what I'm going to do is just line that up, mark it out, then cut it. I'll straighten these lines up with a ruler before I actually cut them. Top panels cut. The only thing to do with this is one of them will need a couple of holes in for the reading light and USB. Alrighty, so to fit these, obviously we've got the drills, and I'm going to use these 32mm self-tappers. 32mm might be a bit excessive, but I have a load of these in the workshop and I just thought I'd use them. And there is quite a curvature on some of these panels, so you have to really push the thing in, and you want the screw to get a good hold of that, you know. To start with, I just want to line this up. I'll put one in here just to hold it, and then we'll get it pushed into shape, and I'll show you how to do that. Now to push this in, I don't know if you can see this, but there's quite a curvature here, and this panel wants pushing right away in there. So what I'm going to do is use one of the ceiling props. I'll show you what I mean. I have one of these, and I can position that against the door, and then we can push that right in to that curve. And there it is. Very good. And then we'll do that again with this corner piece to push it back as far as we can. So I'm going to put a few screws in there and then we will get on with it. Okay, that's the first panel on and that's all looking good. Now I'm just going to continue around the van, do the other 4 and then on to the next job. Okay, so all of the panels are now on. This is looking good. And on these little pillar sections here, I've just cut a little piece of ply to shape and screwed that through the front. I might very well cut this lug off. I just think that'll look a bit strange when carpeted over, but I can just whip that off with an angle grinder. I don't think it's structural. Alrighty, so our very next task here is to put these ceiling battens in. Down each of the ribs across the van. We want some in the back and we want some on the bulkhead. But first of all, I'm going to take this light out. I'm going to place that about here in the ceiling so that as we open the door of the van the light will come on. But that's just in the wrong place right now, so I'm going to move that first. And the length of these battens is going to be over there. That is 145. So how many do I want? I want 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 at 145. Alright, now I've got the batten held in place with one of these extendable poles. There is a curvature on this ceiling, so I've just tightened that up there and I'm going to put 3 screws in it. That should be fine. The only thing to take care of here is to make sure that your wiring is out of the way and through a void in here. Okay, so with these battens now in, we have this section on the back door to figure out. And what we want to do is make sure that we get this on the same angle as the curvature of the ceiling. And the way I found to do that is, if we use a straight edge like this up against the other battens, and then make a mark here, do the same over by the wall, and we have that line between those 2 marks. I'll do the same on this side and then I'll cut these and put them in. Okay, so with these bits in, what we want to do now is put some across this way and we want some on this corner, because this ceiling is going to have like a trim, a plywood trim round, and that needs something to hold on to. So I'm going to take one from here over to here, I'll take one here and here, then we'll put one across there as well, and that should do it. So just let me show you what I've done with that. I've put some cross battens in. I've put cross battens in the corners here, and that would be sufficient to take the ply. When I put the ply on, if it is still flapping around a little, we'll just put some more of those battens in until we'll get it secure. So the last part of the ceiling batten task is to put one across the front of the bulkhead and then put a similar structure down there to hold the ply. Now the thing with this front batten, there is this piece of architecture to get round and this here, and it's similar on the other side. So I've made the batten, I'm going to offer it up, pencil round that and see if I can just bandsaw some of that out to get it to fit nice tight against here and not be obscured by this. You can see that I've just shaped that so it'll fit round that door mechanism, and we've done a similar one on the other side so that we don't snag the wires from the solar panel that we put in the other day. Now I'm going to put a couple of screws either side of this and then I'm going to push it up with the extending pole, because we do want a curve on that as well. What I might do is just take out a few notches here to help that to bend. I don't want it to snap. Alright, so I've screwed that either side and now I'm just going to lift it up. Oh, it's just starting to go there, isn't it? That'll be fine there. And we just want that really running along with the bottom of the bulkhead thing. And that will do just fine there. I think one more. There you go. Right, I'm going to put another couple of screws in that and that should hold it. Okay, so with that bit in, just going to do the same thing here and take a couple of battens from here to here. I might get 3 in there. I think 3 will do that one. Alrighty, I've put them in. There's one there, one in the middle and one on the far side. And just for the method here, what I've done, I've used a fairly long screw. I think it's 70mm screw, which I've just put straight through the back here into there. So the ceiling battens are in. Now the next thing to do is I'm going to put like a ply infill right the way down here, right the way around the ceiling, and then when we come to put the actual cladded ceiling in, it'll sort of look like a floating ceiling, if you know what I mean. So like a margin we're going to have down here, simply with a bit of 5mm ply. So I'm going to cut some strips. I'm going to make that 200mm from the wall this way. This one's a little bit different because it has this conduit on, so it's 200 minus the conduit, and we'll put those on, and that will be the majority of the base work on the ceiling done. Okay, back in the workshop. I've got my sheet of 5.5mm ply, and I'm going to whip off 3 lengths of that at the 200mm, and then we'll do the other one to get around the conduit later. Alrighty, I've got 3 of them, and this one ended up at 170mm. 200, 170. Right, now we're going to fit these into the van, and I think I'll start that by putting that far side one in. That seems fairly straightforward. We'll put that one in, and then this one here does need a little bit of chewing and sorting out to get around that cowling at the back, but that's okay. This one first. And just as we progress with this, I've discovered that I did indeed have to put a couple of more battens in there. These are centered 200mm out from the back, so that when we put this back section on, it'll have plenty to hold on to. Now, I have on the floor the main piece which is going up here, and what I've done on it is I've marked where the battens are, and I'm just going to put a couple of countersinks there, and that'll be much easier to screw to the ceiling without having to do the countersinking. So I'm going to do that with it flat on the floor, and then we'll fit this piece. Okay, so to start putting this in, we want to get it flush with the wall and flush with the trim on the cab. And once that's sort of in place, we can hold that section of it up with the expanding pole. Then we can push the whole thing into place, put another pole in position, and then screw it in. It's all looking good. So we just want to go along the line there and screw this into these battens. To tackle this back piece, first thing we want is an overall measurement, which is again from the side of the van to this cowling, and that measurement is 147.5. So we're going to cut a piece 147.5. Then we've got a little bit of nibbling to do around this light, and we've got a little bit around this thing here. Okay, so I've taken the detail out of that end and a piece for the where the light housing is there, and the next thing to do is to fit that in. I'll put the rest of the screws in there, and then we've got the last bit to do just in front of the cab, and the front piece is on also. I've had to put that in 2 pieces, just ran a little short of the wood, but that's going to be totally okay. All of this is going to get carpeted, all of this plywood that I've just put on the ceiling, so that is going to start here and be carpeted right the way down the walls. I'll make a ceiling in the workshop with a slight overlap here, and that will overlap this whole thing. Should look good. But that is it for day 6. Done well, got all the panelling on, got the ceiling sorted out, all good. Next time, tomorrow, next video, I think it'll be carpeting. We'll get on with the carpeting, we'll get that done, and then we'll start making the internal structures for the van, i.e. the cabinets, the wooden rock and roll bed, and the ceiling. So if you would like to see how this all comes out, do consider subscribing to the channel, and if you've enjoyed the video, do give it a thumbs up, and I thank you very much for watching.